Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever Autoimmune Patients' Choice Awards. We are so excited to be introducing this new award ceremony. And what we're going to be doing today is hearing from some amazing innovators who are working on your behalf as patients and caregivers to improve the autoimmune patient experience. It's just so exciting to see the innovation that is happening every day. There are tons of apps out there. There are tons of technology devices. And we've selected the best of the best so that you can hear from some of the leaders at their companies today. So here's how it's going to work. You're going to hear from 6 different companies who are going to share their pitch in 3 minutes, talk about their innovation, and then our expert judges are going to come in and they're going to ask some questions so that we can learn a little bit more. And then at the end, you're going to have the chance to vote and say who you think should take home the first ever Autoimmune Patients' Choice Award. So before we jump in, I would really love to give our incredible judges the opportunity to introduce themselves. What's really exciting about this group of individuals is that they are both patient advocates and entrepreneurs and working in the innovation space. And so I am going to go ahead and pass it over to Chris Snyder to introduce himself.
I don't know about entrepreneur, but I appreciate the acknowledgement. Thank you, Lily. My name is Christopher Snyder. I am a community and clinic success manager at Tidepool. We're a nonprofit organization making really awesome diabetes software. I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in 2002, and I'm excited to hear from people that are much smarter than me and hopefully get some ideas about what else could be done in the future in the name of patient health and safety. Thanks for having me.
Chris, you're not giving yourself too much credit. Chris is very smart. He's quite brilliant. I've been fortunate enough to have the opportunity to work with him a lot. And does he not have the perfect podcast voice, folks? Thank you, Chris. All right, Emily, over to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Levy. I'm the president and co-founder of MightyWell. We're an adaptive medical wearables brand. We make everything from PICC line protectors, medical backpacks, and now masks. I'm a patient myself living with multiple autoimmune diseases, including celiac, Hashimoto's, and a few others. Just like many of the panelists, I've been on the other side of the pitch, so I'm really excited to provide feedback as a judge today. Thank you, everyone, for having me. I'm just so excited to hear what you're all doing to better our patient lives.
Thanks, Emily. And last but certainly not least, the amazing Jen Horenjeff.
I'm Jen Horenjeff. I'm the founder and CEO of Savvy Cool's like you to hear your perspective.
That's okay. That's all right, Jen. I think we got some bits and pieces of it. I'll jump in and share a little bit about Jen. Jen is the founder and CEO of Savvy Cooperative. They work to help bring patient insights into companies so that the patient voice can be heard. They also have a booth they are exhibiting, as does Emily and MightyWell, so I encourage you to check those out. Jen is actually en route on her way to Boston to participate in Health, the big conference that's happening here, and so we were so lucky to have her join us today. Thank you, Jen. All right, so now, without further ado, I think it's time for us to begin our pitches, and so we're actually going to start with Portal Instruments and Barb Taylor. Barb is the vice president and she is of commercial and marketing at Portal Instruments. And Barb, I'm going to put 3 minutes on the clock and I am going to let you take it away.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So I will share my screen here to tell you a little bit about Portal Instruments. We are very much focused on the patient experience. We are developing a needle-free injector. So let me tell you a little bit about that. We are an MIT spin-out. We're based in Cambridge, Mass. And for many of you with autoimmune diseases, many of you have probably been told that you need to or may need to take a biologic drug to help manage your disease, and that this is most likely an injectable disease and something that you have to take for the rest of your life. Now, the reality is a lot of people don't like needles. And in fact, you could even call it a fear or severe anxiety in up to 25% of the adult population. And certainly, statistics aside, I get emails on a weekly basis from people with sometimes really heartbreaking stories, especially parents of pediatrics who just really, really struggle with getting those injections done. But aside from that, I also get emails and comments from people about, even if they're not needle phobic, dealing with the needles and the disposal, the travel, the anticipation of, the handling of can be tedious, can be a pain. And it just seems like there should be a better way of delivering drugs. And the reality is human nature. If you don't like to do something, you tend to avoid it. And we see that especially with adherence and compliance with medications. And of course, there's a societal cost, an outcomes cost that's not good. So Portal Instruments has said, well, what if we can transform the way injections are done? What if we could take a 200-year-old technology, the needle and syringe, and make it better? And so again, we took this technology from MIT and we turned it into a needle-free injector. So how does it work? We have the reusable injector, and this is good for several years. And then we have cartridges, and I'm looking for my cartridge. The cartridges are single use, and they're filled by our pharmaceutical partners with specific drugs, and that they're single use and they can contain up to 2 mils. And how it works is our motor is so fast and the nozzle in the cartridge is so thin that it can pierce the skin. So in essence, we're creating a jet injection. How does it feel? I get that question all the time. We've done many clinical studies using saline, and the patients take an injection of saline with our device and then with the needle and syringe. And we've published a couple of papers on this. The pain perception is lower with our device. And overwhelmingly, patients prefer it. Just the experience of taking the injection. It's fast, less than a second, and just overall a better experience. In addition to being needle-free, because it is computer connected, we can connect it to disease management apps. And that, of course, then can be shared with your care team or be used to manage your own adherence or possibly even your symptoms. And again, all of this in mind with how do we make the experience better? How do we make the experience more modern and up to date, all with the goal of improving outcomes. My last slide, you think about your Patient Choice Award. I'm just going to ask everyone, if you are told that you have to go on injectable, what would you choose?
Thank you, Barb. I do injectables multiple times a week, so this technology is really exciting from the patient perspective. I would love to know more about your payer model.
So we go to the FDA as a combination product. So we partner with the pharmaceutical company, but they put their drug into our cartridge and then they file with the FDA and then they do distribution. So each pharmaceutical company will go through their own negotiations with the payers and determine that. Our preliminary research that we've done is the payers have said, oh, this will probably be at the same formulary level as what the prefilled syringe or the infusion is.
Mm-hmm. So who pays for the injector itself?
So that is like TBD by each partner, how they're going to manage that.
Understandable.
Yeah, we certainly want to make it accessible to everyone.
Of course.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Emily. Thank you so much, Barb. Appreciate that. We're going to now transition over to Meta from MyMe.
So I was diagnosed with 6 autoimmune diseases by the age of 30. I saw numerous doctors. I was heavily medicated and nothing helped me. I slept 14 hours a day and was told that it was all in my head. And so I took matters into my own hands, and I've been able to be symptom and drug-free now for 10 years. So our program helps people take the guesswork out of autoimmunity It's called MyMe. It's all about getting yourself back, like MyMe. And I think everyone who's here today really understands the impact of autoimmune diseases a little too well. And yet it's a hidden epidemic that very few are talking about. In our parents' generation, it impacted 1 in 400, and in ours, it's 1 in 5. And so, you know, we know that 1 in 5 are struggling with autoimmunity, but mainstream medicine's technology around this condition really is where our knowledge of cancer was in our grandparents' generation. And as a result, millions of people spent years suffering because even after you get diagnosed, medication fails 3 out of 4 patients. So today, autoimmune diseases is the leading cause of death in women aged 15 to 49. And that's just not good enough. And so what's MyMe? We are a clinically validated program proven to reduce autoimmune symptoms in more than 90% of members. And our approach consists of 3 key elements. So first, an easy to use app with what we call a snap to track feature. So all you need to do is take a quick photo of what you're eating and drinking. Symptoms, whether it's a runny nose or joint pain, is tailored to you. So you tap a button and that's it. We basically take your body's signaling and turn that noise into understanding by pinpointing the causalities between what you do and how it affects your symptoms using our proprietary technology. And studies have shown that 80% of the immune system is determined by lifestyle and environmental factors. So third, and perhaps most importantly, our approach is led by certified health coaches that have all reversed their own autoimmune disease. They're able to translate these machine insights into a personalized plan. So through weekly one-on-one sessions, our coaches help you avoid triggers by guiding you through very small and doable changes over time. MyMe's technology can help identify triggers in as little as 8 weeks, whereas we know the traditional approach can take 5 to 7 years to get a diagnosis. And for my own case, I'm healthier in my 40s than I was in my 20s and 30s. And what took me 16 months, we can now do for others in as little as 8 to 16 weeks. So thank you, everyone. And I hope we'll have a lot of amazing conversation in the coming days.
Thank you, Meta. Perfect timing. And I am going to once again pass it over to Emily to ask a few questions.
Thank you, Meta, for working on this incredible technology. Your approach is something I'm trying to figure out myself right now, being a young woman in my 20s. And I would love to know, how are you building community around the technology that you're building?
So we've actually just launched what we call MyMe Connect, which is a free community where we have modules that people can take. We help people in as many ways as we possibly can to both understand what we do, but also for people to understand themselves through content and community. I believe that a lot of the online community have been centered very much around the disease, and that makes sense. But what we are trying to do from a community base is actually sort of create a tidal wave of possibilities, and more than anything, positivity, because I think that one of the biggest things is that we can really be dragged down when we are on drugs and depressed at home. But if we can actually create a community to lift people up, I think that will be game changing.
I'm really excited to check out the community. Thank you for all of your work.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Meta. All right, now we are going to be transitioning over to Sasha Francois Heppel. He is the Chief Marketing Officer at SmartTab, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about his innovation. Sasha, take it away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sasha Francois Heppel, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at SmartTab. We are developing an ingestible capsule platform to deliver biologics and targeted medications. Our lab is located here in Denver, Colorado at the Catalyst Health Tech Innovation Center with a strong commitment to patient-centered innovation. SmartTab was founded in 2016 by Robert Nischel. He has an extensive background in pharmaceutical research and development for pharmaceutical drug delivery systems. I met Robert in his prior company, ZoomXR. This was about 10 years ago, where he was bringing pharma types of drug delivery systems to consumer healthcare and sports nutrition. After its success, the attention started to focus on How can we combine all of these advancements in the last decade of wireless technology with pharmaceutical drug delivery systems? And that is the beginning of SmartTab. And so the main problem that we're working on today is to do away with the antiquated method of a needle and syringe that causes pain, anxiety, and stress among patients who have to perform self-injections, and the poor adherence of medical therapies, leaving patients at risk with suboptimal control of their disease. The key is to free the patient from those adherence barriers. And we will do that with InjectTab, an ingestible capsule built for the 21st century to deliver life-saving biologic medications through a patient-friendly oral route of administration. A microneedle capsule that you swallow. It has sensors and a microprocessor that confirms self-orientation and positioning and delivers a fast injection into the stomach wall, and then will harmlessly pass through the GI tract. Our roadmap begins with commercializing InjectTab, and then we'll expand to additional applications such as TargetTab, and that one delivers a drug therapy to the specific site in the colon, and then MultiTab, which is a multi-dose capsule. We completed a preclinical proof of concept study with our TargetTab that successfully administered active ingredients to the targeted site via a wireless signal. InjectTab is currently in the process of preclinical proof of concept studies, starting with insulin, and then we'll move on to Humira. The capsules can be equipped with onboard sensors that connect with an integrative cloud-based care management system. We have a total of 2 patents issued and 5+ applications pending. We are targeting the process of submitting through the 510(k) pathway with the FDA. And at the end of the day, this is about people. Patients are the foundation of our platform and our culture. The patient's concerns fuel our commitment and drive our innovation. We are out to truly free patients from antiquated delivery systems and improve the lives of every autoimmune patient by bringing drug delivery to the 21st century and cause a paradigm shift to patient-centric care. So we want you to be part of this revolution. Please reach out to me through my contact info here on this slide and share with us what are the possibilities that you see for our technology. Thank you so much, and I'll go ahead and take some questions now.
Thank you, Sasha.
Yeah.
Wow, isn't it just exciting, all these awesome innovations happening? All right, I'm kicking it over to Jen so that she can ask you a few questions.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, hi, Jen.
Excellent. Hey there, wonderful presentation. Congratulations. And obviously a really interesting innovation. As an autoimmune patient myself, who has taken a lot of biologics and stabbed myself, it's really interesting to see new ways to distribute this. And I'm curious, you mentioned insulin and Humira as your 2 biologics that you're starting with. My first question is there anyone that this is not appropriate for at the moment? And then also, who else can be looking forward to you being able to roll this out into their conditions going forward?
Yeah, this is wonderful. So the first answer to your question is that this is for right now. We are focused on insulin because we need to partner with pharmaceutical companies, and there is interest right now in really bringing InjectTab, an oral format for insulin. And then for Humira, it's really the GI conditions of IBD that we're targeting. And so we've worked a lot with the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation and our team doing different focus groups to be able to really shape this technology for those specific patients. But down the road, 10 years from now, let me tell you, our vision is that every tablet and capsule will have some type of electronic monitoring and delivery system. And it's all around the ease of use and the patient experience and to really move the needle in care. And so this could be applied to a whole range of applications. The InjectTab specifically, I mean, rheumatoid arthritis could be one option as well. So there's a lot more clinical studies that we'll continue to do, and we'll start to really discover the potential of this technology as we go along and bring this to commercialization.
Thanks, Sasha. Thanks, Jen. We appreciate it. We are now going to bring up Rory Stanton from Isla Health. Rory, are you on the line with us? Fabulous. There
Yes,
she
hi.
is.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your flexibility. All right. I'm going to give you a moment to pull up your slides. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Hopefully now all of our attendees are well hydrated as we did that little tech break. Okay. I'm going to let you take it away, Rory. Clock starts now.
Awesome. Thanks so much. So hi, everyone. We're Isla Health, and we are bringing precision health for autoimmune warriors. Over the last year, we talked to hundreds of autoimmune patients and consistently heard time and time again how patients are struggling to manage and avoid flare-ups, preventing them. They're feeling down, depressed, fatigued, and alone, and really trying to figure out how to manage life on top of having an autoimmune condition. That's because the autoimmune journey can be ridiculously complicated. You're seeing so many specialists and providers going back and forth, trying to make sense of the information that you see online and arguing with insurance companies. It can just be extremely fatiguing and leave you feeling drained, unheard, and invisible. And this is a big problem. I think other folks throughout this conference have mentioned this. 1 in 6 Americans is living with an autoimmune disease, and half of them aren't yet diagnosed. So this is something that really needs to change. We decided to reinvent autoimmune care at Isla Health. We do that by helping you connect all the dots, by pulling in your medical history, your family history, connecting your wearable devices and figuring out your health goals, and also looking at your lifestyle. So things like diet, nutrition, activity, sleep, stress, and ultimately also how your environment is impacting your health. We help you keep track of all of your health information in one place, monitor your flare-ups over time, manage your medication tracking, and your symptom diary. And we connect you to your community through our platform. You're able to connect with other patients living with your condition. And on our weekly autoimmune circles, you can talk with other patients who are going through a similar experience to you. And finally, one of the main tenets of kind of what we've been building at Isla and what we're launching today is our clinical team. Our goal is to do something very similar to what Lauren Stiles from Dysautonomia International was talking about yesterday, in creating an autoimmune focused clinical team that's really centered around you and treats you as a valued member of your own care team, looking at things like nutrition, mental health, physical health, pain, and the numerous specialty care that you need to experience as well. This team helps build personalized care plans for you by combining education, personalized meal plans, and things like breath work and exercise recommendations and lifestyle modifications. All of this is hosted over web and mobile devices to provide convenient access to care for autoimmune warriors at home, where you're seen, heard, and believed by an empathetic care team who gets it. And your health progress is actively monitored over time so that we can prevent negative events like flare-ups happening before they occur. We're so thankful to be here today. We hope you join our community. You can start using the app to track your symptoms and meet other patients within the app for free. And we look forward to hearing from many of you and meeting you at our platform.
Thanks so much, Rory. We appreciate it. All right. And look at Jen. She's all ready to go. Jen, I'm going to kick it over to you for a question.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. Really exciting presentation and work that you're doing. As an autoimmune patient myself with lots of different autoimmune diseases and a lot of specialists that honestly I've been seeing my entire life, I'm wondering how I could use this program with my current physicians so that, I don't have to be managing things on different apps and connecting the dots for them. And I certainly don't want to change my providers. How would that work for a patient like me?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we kind of help patients across the spectrum of where they are in their care journey. On the one hand, we have health coaches that can support kind of in addition to your traditional specialty team that you already have locked. And then what we do is we combine all of this data, and we've actually built our application to be able to support interoperability between systems. So provided your providers can receive that data, it's developed on a standard that makes it highly interoperable with other healthcare providers. And so we can pull in who your specialty care team is in addition to the Isla care team. So if you're just seeing a health coach, we can look at your entire network of providers that are in your care team and then also help push that data out over time.
Is it something that I could even pull into sort of my Apple Health right now that I could then be able to show it to other providers even if it didn't integrate yet?
Yeah, so the data, well, not all the data in the application will push into Apple Health, just the way Apple Health is configured, but a lot of the connected devices, for instance, will seamlessly integrate. So if you're connected to a number of different devices, like a glucometer or you know, a spirometer, or a number of different things like that, we actually connect to devices like that, pull that data in, and then that gets, this is a little bit more technical, but gets pushed back out to the Apple Health.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Rory. Okay, we are back. We're rocking and rolling. And so now we're going to pass it over to Evan Ehrenberg at Clara Health. He is the co-founder and CEO. Evan, I'm going to give you a moment to pull up your slides, and then I'll put you on the clock.
Great. Thanks so much, Lily. I can go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. I'm Evan Ehrenberg. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Clara Health. We're working to make healthcare more accessible for everyone. And we started with arguably one of the least accessible forms of healthcare today, where you see massive inequity in forms of access, and that's clinical trials. Not only does this challenging patient experience create inequity in the quality of care options that are available to patients who may want to consider clinical trials, but it's created a bottleneck on medical advancement. So this difficulty to find and participate in clinical trials as a patient ends up delaying over 80%, about 86% of clinical trials. And it's a direct cause of over 30% of early study terminations. These are perfectly good potential medical advancements. They're getting cut because it's costing too much money to run them. And so this obviously, of course, adds the overall cost of bringing drugs to market, and it makes healthcare more expensive for everyone. So at Clara Health, we've directly worked with patients to build a free platform that anyone can use to see all of your clinical trial options. And we support you with free 24/7 live support from our in-house team, because we know that not everything can be automated. We've supported over 30,000 patients with applying to and screening for clinical trials. And patients with our support have been 6 times more likely to actually finish the studies that they sign up for because of how easy we make it for them. And our efforts haven't just helped these individuals. By working with over 400 patient communities, we've directly accelerated clinical trials by 2 to 8 times their previous timelines, getting the advancements that those trials are studying into regulatory approvals even faster so that patients around the world can benefit. Now, to achieve these results, we work directly with pharma, biotech, medical device companies that are running the studies to actually design and redesign them from the ground up around the patients that they serve. We do this by bringing patients right into the planning and design process to make sure that everything from the study protocol itself, the informed consent, to the marketing material that are being used aren't just approved by patients, aren't just approved by patients, but are actually built with them and by them. So here's what it looks like to join a clinical trial using Clara Health. When you learn about a study, you have 24/7 live support from our team to address any and all of your questions. We have a really simple application and pre-screening form. Of course, it's all HIPAA compliant. Now, most clinical trials need a lot more information than just a survey. So we'll actually go ahead and give you a call on your schedule when it's convenient to you, ask more detailed questions, answer your own, of course. And if the study isn't a good fit, either at this step or any step, we'll stay on the line with you and we'll find something that might be a better fit for you. And once we do find that fit, we'll go ahead and gather all your medical records for you. You don't have to lift a finger. Now, with a full picture of your medical history, we'll make a warm intro to the medical team that's administering the clinical trial closest to you. But we don't drop off there. Our team is your concierge the whole way through. We help with scheduling your appointments, booking transportation for you, answering any of your questions at any time, even at 2 a.m. And we even fly patients around the world, and we'll send DoorDash to the hospital to make the process as easy and accessible as possible for you. So I want to wrap up with a huge thank you to all of our patient advisors, advocacy group partners, members of our Breakthrough Career Advocacy Program. We really can't do this important work without you.
This is very exciting. Thank you, Evan. There's a literal global pandemic taking place, and that has changed a lot, including clinical trial coordination, participation, all that other stuff. How has Clara adapted to all of that adjustment? You know, like where possible, obviously some trials have to be done in person, but a number of things are being conducted in a more remote fashion. How was that adjustment period for you all with respect to those changes?
Well, first off, addressing COVID. So when that happened, we actually made a huge pivot. We launched a nonprofit program called World Without COVID, and we made our platform free for any type of researcher, whether you're academic or a big pharma company. We didn't charge anybody any money if they're doing work in COVID-19. And we provided full support to help patients access COVID-19 trials. I remember in the early days, you would see like the number of trials was doubling every day. It was insane. We actually supported over 10,000 patients with accessing COVID-19, whether it was vaccine trials or antibody treatments or testing. So that was a really huge, important way for us to step up. Speaking generally, though, you're talking about decentralized clinical trials where you can have in-home visits and stuff. We've actually been sort of built for that from day one, even before the pandemic, because our platform is fully digital, and we can help you either find studies that are close by to you or help you find studies that are going to come to you or just be remote. Our entire process works really well, whether you have a traditional model or one of the more potentially, in some cases, effective decentralized clinical trial models that you see today.
Thanks, Evan. Thank you, Chris. And what a great question. I think so many tech companies have had to adapt, so many companies for that matter, right, during COVID. So thank you for that. Evan, appreciate you being here. We have plenty of time to bring back Ms. Laura Hamilton from Health Beacon. Laura, thank you. We're happy to have you back.
Thanks everybody for your patience, really appreciate it. So my name is Laura Hamilton, I'm with Health Beacon. We are an Irish digital health company. I'm based here in Boston, Massachusetts, overseeing our US business activities out of South Boston. So we make smart tools for managing medication. We've developed the world's first FDA cleared smart Sharps bin. You'll see the device there sitting on the kitchen countertop in the cover slide. And if you advance to the next slide, please, we'll talk a little bit about our experience to date, having branched from Dublin, Ireland, across Europe, and now into the US with the last year and a half, where we've been doing some projects in stealth mode, but you'll be hearing a lot more about Health Beacon in the coming weeks and months. So we do have experience supporting over 11,000 patients in 15 global markets, tracking over 500,000 injection events in the home across a variety of therapeutic areas. And I'll note that we launched our company alongside AbbVie's Humira. So we have deep years of expertise of patient support in the autoimmune space. To the next slide, please. We'll talk first, the problem we're solving for is medication adherence, which is certainly nothing new to the folks that are taking any kind of medication on a regimen basis to manage their chronic disease. It's a very complex reasons why patients may not be fully optimally adherent or why they might fall off. On the next slide, we're talking about the next problem point that we're solving, particularly in the US, which is the management of medical Sharps. But both adherence and Sharps, they're kind of top line issues, but as a patient, we've really dissected the patient journey to understand the burdens all along the way. Many patients may have something like this in their home, a traditional Sharps container. Many patients actually don't, so they're advised to use a milk bottle, a coffee can, a laundry detergent container to manage their Sharps. Once their Sharps containers are full, oftentimes they'll have to bring them to a treatment facility or perhaps a town hall, DPW, or a fire station for management. So a lot of patient burden kind of underneath all of this, managing schedules, injection fear and fatigue, the record keeping of it all, to maintain those records, managing their rotating injection sites, recall of adherence to discuss with their doctor, as well as the Sharps management. So a lot going on here. On the next slide, you'll see what we've developed to holistically solve for that, which is a Health Beacon's injection care management system. On the right-hand side, it's sort of a flexible suite of services that we provide to pharmaceutical manufacturers and specialty pharmacy companies to deploy this to patients within patient support programs. On the left, you'll see the core components of the tech. Firstly, the Health Beacon Smart Sharps bin, the paired companion app, which doesn't require any input from the patient. It simply captures all of the injection data from the Sharps bin so that patients have their records. And then a USPS approved mailback system that's operational right now in the US. The way the Health Beacon works is quite simple. On the day of injection, so before we send out the device to patients, it's programmed during the enrollment phase with the patient's injection frequency and schedule. So when the patient receives the Health Beacon to their home, they simply power it on. The date of their next injection site appears on the LCD screen. On the day of injection, the blue lights come on. The patient simply injects, disposes of their syringe or auto-injector into the Health Beacon, which takes a digital record of that disposal event. And it's as simple as that. The data flows from there. So ultimately, all of this is improving patient adherence to their medication regimen, as well as their persistence to therapy over time. Moving on to the next slide, please. We'll see sort of the impact that we've just put out in a peer-reviewed publication demonstrating that the end of month 12, patients who have our system are 19% more likely to still be on their therapy. Next slide, please. A little bit about what we're going to be doing with the waste side. We'll be recovering the sharps containers and recycling the sharps bins themselves, as well as components of the injection devices at our green lab, which we're building right now in Orlando. Next slide, please. And as you see the Health Beacon in terms of its patient-centric design, it's really an attractive product that we've designed alongside with patients to elegantly place into their home in a discreet fashion, so you wouldn't quite know what it is, which helps with sort of keeping it in a prominent place where that injection activity can happen with more ease. Next slide, please. And with that, I thank you. Welcome any questions at this time.
Thanks, Laura, and we appreciate it. Fabulous presentation. And now over to Chris to ask a couple questions.
Great.
Thank you, Lily. This is very exciting, Laura, as a person with diabetes who was previously multiple daily injections. I love the idea of not having to use a 2-liter bottle of Diet Coke to store my insulin pen needles once they're used. When it comes to the app itself, the thing that I'm thinking about with respect to user experience is alarm fatigue. Like there's already going to be these sort of we'll call it medically induced apprehensions to taking medication. But if you throw an app on top of that with everything else that's taking place independent of the pandemic, the phone may not necessarily be the best reminder of some of that. So have you accounted for the potential of alarm fatigue with respect to the user experience as we approach terms like compliance and adherence?
Sure. Certainly, great question, Chris, and particularly for those who are injecting daily or intradaily, and we're very well aware of that, and we want to be cognizant that we're not burdening the patient with too many alarms and alerts. So it's all customizable based on the program and based on the frequency, and the patient actually gets to control a lot of those alerts. The app is actually a new piece of our solution we brought to market this year. So we've been operating 8 years as a standalone device, simply operating with the blue lights coming on 1 hour prior to injection, which patients like because that's reminding them to maybe take their medication out of the refrigerator, prepare all of their supplies. It's kind of getting their head in the game for what they're about to do. They also get a text message. The beauty of Health Beacon is we're reminding patients as they need it, but these are smart reminders. So if the patients say they take it an hour early, they're not going to get an alert. They're not going to get a reminder. The system will know that it's already been done, but the patient can control much of that through the app itself or through Health Beacon customer care.
Thanks, Laura. Thank you, Chris. Well, and with that, we've now heard all of these amazing presentations. Hats off to all of you who are innovating on behalf of autoimmune patients. You know, it's such an area that is ripe for innovation. And speaking as an autoimmune patient myself, I am so very grateful to each and every one of you for the work that you are doing. It's cheesy to say, but you truly are all winners in my book. So now I'm going to pass it over to our producers, and I'm going to ask them to now release the opportunity to vote. One thing I want you attendees to keep in mind, you can vote on Zoom if you're on your desktop, but if you are joining us on the app, you can vote from Whova. We will take both into consideration. Please, we're using the honor system, just vote one time. We're going to keep voting open for a few minutes, and then we're going to tally the votes, and we'll be back. So, you know, cast your vote, then take some time to grab a drink, get ready for your lunch. We've got a great wellness break coming up. And also, one other thing I would like to encourage is that if you want to see more about these innovators and what they've brought to the table, please head over to the poster section of our Summit app, and you can learn a little bit more about them. All right, I'm going to be quiet now to let everybody think and decide who they want to cast their vote for. All right, everyone, I'm coming back with the winner. I am not, again, I'm not lying to you. It truly is very, very close. I'm getting all kinds of notifications that this has been very close. So we're very excited to share that the first ever Autoimmune Patient's Choice Award goes to SmartTab. Yay! And I know you're all clapping at home. We need some clapping side effects. I'm gonna give us a moment. We're gonna bring Sasha up on stage so that he can say a few words. So here he is.
Oh my gosh, we are just so excited. This is amazing. Thank you so much for just believing in us and your support. And you can count on that. The team is going to really this is going to accelerate our work, and we will keep you informed. So please get in touch with us, and we'd love to hear from you. Go to our website. But thank you so much, and just for this opportunity, and we are so proud and honored. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sasha, and thank you to all of our presenters and for all of the work that you're doing on behalf of patients. Again, I really encourage all of you who are in the audience to go ahead and check out the poster sessions where you can learn a little bit more about each one of these companies. They really are doing phenomenal work, and that's exciting. All of these people working on our behalf means that a better tomorrow is coming for each and every one of us. So thank you, everyone.